Stephen. Welcome to News9. And today we'll speak about Indian football and its many dimensions that that Indian football has. You have been the national coach for two stints, first in 2005 and then in 2015. So, what were your observations regarding the 10 years that you weren't associated with Indian football?
I think football got more respect. Back in the day when ATK Mohan Bagan and East Bengal were playing, you would have 100,000 people out in the stadium, and this is for friendly games. So I never say that football was not popular in my first stint. It was just not publicized in my first stint. That in India we want our children to be doctors and lawyers and where they make good money. We see in my first stint that football could be a full-time job for our men and women.
Right.
And I think that was the biggest difference. Indians understood that, this game is played in every single country in the world. Why are we not part of this process? And of course, the publicity around the national team at that time.
Since you speak about the LG Cup, it was one of the last major tournaments that India won, and it was under you. So, if I ask you to compare the 2002 team you had with Vijay and Ancheri and Baichung, and the 2015 to 19 team you had with Sunil Chhetri, Udanta Singh and the likes. So are there any technical similarities or tactical similarities or differences?
Wow. Okay, you will go Devjit Ghosh, you will go Samir Naik, Mahesh Kawali, Tomba Singh, Baichung, IM, John Paul, all top players, all strong characters, all leaders. I'm sure I'm forgetting a few, but in the 2019, we didn't have that kind of leadership. Sunil led on the field, but you didn't have that person in the locker room that we had those days. Speaking, I had Devjit Ghosh. Hey, come, what do we do?
Sunil Chhetri, the Indian captain, is 37 years old, and he remains India's best goal getter till date. Now, do you see that as a problem, because the days of Sunil playing as an Indian striker are coming to an end? So, and his successor is not there yet, so to speak, because we can't pinpoint anyone to take over the mantle. So, do you think it is a huge problem for Indian national team going forward?
Well, it goes back to the to why I was so upset when I would go to games and watch 7 foreigners playing, and I think if it was not 100%, 99% of them were strikers. So, Sunil, it's his decision whether he stops or not. I think he should have stopped after the Asian Cup, if I'm honest. You leave at the top. As you said, he's not the player that he was, and 7, not many players are the same as they were when they're 27. But obviously, for him to decide, and of course his class.
So now coming towards the recent past, in 2015 when you took over, India were around 170 in the rankings. And
I heard
then
173.
173, right. And then it improved drastically in the next 2-3 years. And at one point of time, it reached 96 under you. So, many thought that was just the beginning of a long improved process, but it didn't quite pan out that way. But I would like to ask you, is FIFA rankings a true indicator of the strength of a football nation? Because many people in India believe that, many people don't. So it's an anomaly in
Well,
that case.
yeah, look, is there a better way to judge a national association? There is, I would like to. And I'm not saying that is the best way because, look, FIFA rankings are solely based on results. But they are also based on who you play. So
Right.
you need to qualify you need to win the SAF to get some, shall we say, respect. You need to beat teams that are above you in the FIFA rankings. Okay. Now, if you beat them in a friendly, you get X amount of points. But if you beat them in a competition, or in competition, I mean in a qualifier, and if you beat them in a Asian Cup or World Cup tournament, then you're going to get so much more in terms of points. I don't know if there is a better way, but you see the top ranked teams in Asia, they all consistently qualify for the Asian Cup, and some qualify for the World Cup, and that's why it is. So I don't know if there is a better way. If there is, I'm open.
Okay. Now, since you speak about the ISL and only 11 teams, you were one of the few coaches who were present in the I-League structure, the old I-League structure, and then in the ISL structure, which began in 2014. So according to you, what changed, and if you can compare I-League and ISL, its benefits and its demerits?
Well, look, I think my problem with the ISL at that time was I was trying to develop Indian players for the national team. Now, normally it's the other way around. Clubs should be developing players for the national team, not team for the clubs. So, and this was the case in the first. Most important thing that we can give as a nation to the players are games. And in the ISL, when I first came, I believe there was 6 foreigners, maybe 7.
Yeah.
So I would go to watch Delhi Dynamos against Jamshedpur, and I'm watching 8 Indians, and some of those players were playing. Okay, so for example, I don't mention names. There was one player who was played forward, and he was playing left back. Because we needed to accommodate the foreign players, we'll put the Indian guy. It doesn't matter if he doesn't play there. The foreigner is playing in his right position. The foreigner has more value. Therefore, who cares? I was not a big fan of that. Your other question, I think, is about what is the best, the ISL or the I-League? Personally, my attitude was, and still is, who cares? As long as Indian players are playing, as long as India is being developed, that's what should count, because we're to be judged by our national team.
So you have been quoted as saying that you were not happy with the way ISL was structured in 2014. So what exactly do you mean by that, and what are its consequences that India is facing because of those structuring of ISL, the way it is?
Look, if when I came, the ISL was 1 year old.
Right.
So 15 to 19. In those 4 years, there were improvements. But I still think we need to improve. I will probably answer your question. Now we have 3 foreigners plus an Asian player. Yeah, and so that means that if you go to a game, you're going to watch 14 Indian players.
Right.
And this is what we need for the players. They need games, they need consistency, and they need, obviously, time to play. So I think that there has been improvement in that. I would still say 11 teams. At the moment, they play 20 20 games.
20 games on an average, yeah, per season.
Yeah, 20 games. I mean, and I understand that we are growing, but we had 16 teams when I first came.
Right.
It was okay. I don't say there was no issues in the league and the travel. It was a nightmare for players. The season needs to go from 5 months, 8 months.
8 months, huh?
And our Indian players need this. The other thing, Sujam, is by having a longer season, 8 months, you are to attract 20-something foreign players. Because what are they going to do after the ISL is finished? Go home and sit on the couch? Yeah, if you are 34, 35 years old, yes, you're going to go and sit on the couch. But we need better quality players. And I'm not saying there's some very good players in the ISL at the moment, but most of them, 30 plus, had a longer season. That means more games. You would start to attract the Australians, the Koreans, the Iran players to come and play in our league. They don't want to play for 4 months. It's a tourist league. They have done a lot of good things in the ISL. 3+1, brilliant. Keep 3+1. Don't worry about the Champions League.
But my point is, when you were the coach in 2015, did you point these pointers to AIFF, and were they receptive to your inputs?
I don't think it was an issue with the AIFF. They don't control the ISL.
Right.
And so and that's fair enough. But you must think about the Indian player. If we went to a 12-team league, promotion relegation, 6 and 6, so we get 32 games, that covers the AFC for AFC competition. It also gives games to our Indian players against hopefully better foreign players. And in the end, it's a win-win.
Okay. Now, I would ask you about the way I-League was demoted as the second-tier league in the country. Do you think it was the right way to do? I-League being in the business for 20 odd years, then introducing ISL as the top league and demoting the I-League?
Look, I think the I-League had quite a number of issues, even before the ISL came in.
Right.
What happens when somebody bigger walks into the room than you? You need to up your game, okay?
Right.
And I don't think the I-League were in a position bring the big names that the ISL did, to use the big stadiums that the ISL did, to publicize the game the way the ISL did. I mean, it bought agents, it bought CEOs, directors of football, and it has for sure been, if you look now, it's 8 years, I believe.
8 years.
It's not the same as it was when it started. And when you were born, you were not the same as you are right now. You have evolved, and I think it still has to grow a little bit.
Now, in the ISL, we see only 11 franchises playing, and that is also on a money-to-money basis. They pay a 15 crore franchisee fee and then play. And the model is not based on on-field success. It is based on money power. So, do you think that this corporatization is the way to go for Indian football? Doesn't it give precedence to money over capacity, individual capacity or team capacity?
Yeah, look, I understand why they did it the way they did it. I think they took a little page out of the MLS book. For India, at this point in time, we need at least 12 to 16 teams. In 24, maybe we will have promotion relegation.
According to the AFC roadmap, there is a possibility of doing that.
So how will that happen?
I'm not quite sure.
if you are not a team in the ISL at the moment, you think, okay, in 2024 we come first in the I League, we don't have that money. Then one of the teams in the ISL says, well, hang on a minute, we've paid $12.
Right.
Who is us? Why are we letting these people in the league? So I don't know how that works. That's a problem.
That is the big question in Indian football right now. What will happen to the league structure as a structure as it is?